It is September 2nd, so this is my official last week for summer break because next Tuesday we do start work. They pushed back our start date, but we still technically have to report and figure out what the hell's going on. But I do want to focus this week on reading some last minute summer contemporary slash thrillers. So the first book I'm in the middle of reading is I Hope You're Listening by Tom Ryan. This is a murder mystery podcast themed novel. It's actually the perfect concept for a novel, in my opinion. It follows this girl. I have to I can't remember her name, but it follows this young girl. 10 years ago, she went out playing with one of her best friends, and her friend went missing, and no one has ever found her, and she can't remember what happened to her friend. She can't remember what happened. So she takes it upon herself to start this podcast called The Hidden Files, I think it is. And she's basically telling other people's missing stories. And she does this under the cover. No one knows that it's her. And I'm really liking it. I read I read 20 pages last night, and I found it to be super fun. So I'm gonna finish reading that today. Also, the other two books on my TBR is Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This was a summer contemporary that came out in August, and it's just I think it came out in August. But it is a one-day contemporary novel set after graduation where two former rivals have to work together, which I always like. Also, the other book I added to my TBR is Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. This is the third book in the Once Upon a Con series. I've heard wonderful things about both of these books. Also, right now I am listening to I'll See You in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I have an hour left in it, so I hope to actually be able to make progress and read that this week. So yeah, that's my plan. I am also going to I am also going to Target today, and a ridiculous amount of books came out yesterday, a crazy amount of books. So if I do wind up seeing some, I might buy them just to have them, but we'll see. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna go shopping with my mom, come back, do my nonfiction reading for the day, because I didn't get to do it yesterday, and then I'll check in with you guys before I go to work, because I do actually want to get some work done, because I am technically going back to work next week, but I do want to have some time. So I'll check in with you guys when I get back from shopping. Bye.
Right here, it's 6:10. I did actually wind up doing my work. I did another 2 weeks of lessons, which is pretty exciting. Then I had a meeting that kind of undid some of the stuff that I did, but I'm still gonna keep working because I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared, as I learned with COVID the first time around. But yeah, so I did between all that stuff. We also did finally get an exercise bike for inside the house. Incredibly exciting, because I don't think I'm gonna probably go to a gym until the spring, probably, to be honest with you. I will be in a pretty infectious area, dependent on how things go, so just don't want to add more people to my population of people that I'll see. But we did get an exercise bike, which is something that I've been asking for so many years. But I did wind up actually reading about to page 18% in I Hope You're Listening by Tom Ryan, I think. So this book is so interesting. It's so compelling. It has an element of cold cases. It has a podcast element. You follow Delilah, who I think I said this before, but her best friend went missing when she was much younger, and she's the only one that was there. But she doesn't have many memories of that time. So now it's set 10 years in the future, and she's made a podcast which kind of explores disappeared cases, and she kind of tries to get them solved. For those that don't know, I love that type of stuff. I love listening to true crime podcasts and true crime YouTubers. I think that getting those stories out there is so imperative. So that's what she's doing. So that's one side of the story. And then the other side of the story is that a little girl that lives in her house winds up going missing. And that's all that I have right now. So I'm about 18% in, but I'm really, really liking it. I love the concept of this. I love how it's structured. I love the pacing of the story. I'm really, really connected. So I'm going to keep reading and see how far I can get. But it's definitely a fast-paced read. I'm really connected to the characters. Loving the concept, loving and you also get elements of the podcast, you get the script of it, which I like. And I think it might be bisexual representation in here. She has a best friend that I'm also really, really liking. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to reading and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye.
It's almost 7:30. I didn't wind up getting a lot of reading done today. Again, today was very much a planning day, but I did wind up going shopping with my mom earlier in the day, so we did actually I was out of the house, but I also did go for a bike ride. I did read to about 25%, and I hope you're listening. I'm really liking this book a lot. The book definitely took a pivot because now she's kind of getting more involved in a current case in her hometown that might possibly be connected to the case of her best friend. And I'm liking that. I'm loving the elements of the podcast because it's very much like the true crime podcast that I listen to. Nowadays, the true crime podcasts that I listen to are always about cases that are kind of they've just happened or they've happened in the last year and trying to kind of solve them. So that's very much the format of this. It kind of reminds me a little bit of John Lordan's channel. He does very, very current cases that people have been missing for a week or two. So it's definitely reminds me a little bit of that. But I'm really, really liking it. I'm excited for school to kind of go back to normal, but I will definitely take you guys along the journey with me. Tomorrow's another prep day for me. It's also my grandpa's birthday. But yeah, so I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning after yoga because I have an early yoga class, which is probably the last yoga class I'm going to be able to take, which is that one for a while. So I'm really going to enjoy it. But I'm going to go watch a little bit of The Good Witch, which is a nice de-stressing show. I've said that before. It's definitely a show that I don't have to work. It's not like a stressful show. It's so fun and so lighthearted, and it's just the perfect show for 2020. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll update you, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Guys, I'm back. It is Tuesday, September 3rd. I did actually wind up going to yoga physically because I totally forgot about my yoga class this morning. But I did wind up reading a good section about So You Want to Talk About Race, about intersectionality, which is a really interesting topic. So I wound up doing that. I wound up doing a little bit of my Skillshare class, and then I came home, had to run a few errands, and then I got right into work. But during my errands, I did make quite a bit of progress on I'll See You in a Crown by Leah Johnson. That book is really, 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 really good. I have about an hour left, and I probably will finish it a bit faster, but I'm really liking that. It has so many elements, so much diversity. I'm really liking that book. I'm probably gonna actually go for a bike ride after I'm done work because I'm almost done, and I'm probably gonna make some more progress because I left it off at kind of a point that I didn't want to leave it off at because I just want to know what happens. But I also didn't wind up reading any of my book. I hope you're listening because I was reading during yoga about my So You Want to Talk About Race. But this is my last real day at home to plan unless stuff changes, which knowing me, it probably will, but I'm really trying to get as much stuff done as I can at my house so when I go into a building, I can kind of have at least a little bit of a game plan. Right now, I did do about 8 weeks of planning, which is actually pretty good for me, but it's really dual planning because I have 8 plans for online learning and 8 plans for in-person learning. So it's really a lot that I wound up doing, which I'm really, really proud of. And I still do feel like I had a summer. So I am going to go finish the prep stuff that I wanted to get done, and then I'm probably going to go for a bike ride, and then I'll probably check back in with you guys. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey book lovers, I'm back. I just want to say that I did actually wind up going for that bike ride, and I was able to finish listening to You See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This book is adorable. I so enjoyed it. I loved it. How long is this? I think it's a little bit over 300 pages. But I loved the audiobook so, so much. I thought that this was a great, diverse read. I fell in love with the characters, so much. I think this was the perfect contemporary read of the summer. I love Lizzie as a character. I really loved all the side characters. I think growing up in a very white neighborhood and a very, very non-queer friendly neighborhood, and I think the backdrop of her really trying to get to college, and the only way she knew how to get to college when her scholarship dream didn't come true was to run for prom queen because that gave you a big scholarship. I love that. I also love that there was so much friendship in this book. There was a romance element, and that was like equally important, but so many of the characters were her friends, and I really loved that, the elements of that. She has an adorable family, two grandparents that just really like I love. She has this awesome relationship with her brother. There's also representation for disability and illness rep, which you don't really see in contemporary novels that much, like chronic illnesses. There was just so much in this book. I really wound up loving it. I would definitely, this is definitely going to be like a 5-star read for me. I always love books that have like a countdown element, like they're going towards something, may it be like an event or something like that. This had that. It was set in a school. It was just great. I really really love this. This was just chosen as the Reese Witherspoon book club book, which I thought was a great pick. Guys, I love this book. I would definitely physically buy myself the audio because I could see myself totally listen to this book again. But such a good read. I am not a like I'm awake cisgendered woman, but I really wound up liking this book. Like, loved it. I know I've seen some reviews that said that there were some things that the African American reviewers had a problem with, and I can see the elements of that. I would go in knowing there are a couple of friendship dynamics that maybe you might have a problem with towards the end of the book, but overall, really, really liked it. I'm gonna go play a little bit of Animal Crossing. I tried to play yesterday, but my head was not where it had to be. So I'm gonna play a little bit of Animal Crossing, and then I'm gonna kind of dive back into my read. It is Thursday, so I'm not prepping tomorrow for work, so I can actually like devote a lot of time tomorrow to reading. I do hope I can go to the bookstore because like 99,000 books came out earlier in the week that I would love to pick up, like Blood and Honey and a couple of other ones. So yeah, I'm gonna go play Animal Crossing for a little bit, and when I'm done with Animal Crossing and I read a little bit more of also, I hope you're listening.
Back. It's about 7:30. I did actually want to playing Animal Crossing, and I was able to complete a task that I've been trying to do, which was make a little sign for the front of my house, which took a lot of time that I was not anticipating it taking that long to do. But yeah, so if you ever need to get a sign for your Animal Crossing house, I know how to do it. It just took me way too long. But now I can make as many signs as I want, which is exciting. Again, if you would have told me at the start of 2020 I would start using my Switch daily and become obsessed with a game about building my own house, I think I would have called you nuts, but this is the world that we're living in. But after that, I did wind up reading a little bit more of I Hope You're Listening. So I'm about 41% done. I'm on chapter, 21. This book has some of my favorite tropes. I was a big Pretty Little Liar TV show fan. I like the books, but I definitely preferred the TV show a lot more. There's elements of that. I love the podcast elements. I love the mystery. I love when a past and present mystery or disappearance or something tend to be like connected. I like that. This book I'm just loving. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's such a fast-paced read. I'm really liking the podcast element as well. It's a great read. The one thing that I think will be better in like a physical copy of the book is definitely the formatting, because it's just like a little bit weird, and the past, like the current stuff and the past stuff are in two different writing styles. And I don't love that. I think I would have liked it to be in the same writing style, but that's something so small and it's not like a big thing. But it does take me out of the story a little bit when I'm in the past, because I keep thinking, I'm like, wait, that's who the character is, because in the first part it's in first person. But other than that, I am going to try to read for about another hour, and then I am going to watch a little bit of Good Witch. I am trying to go to bed earlier than I have been for the past several months. I would normally go to bed like 12 o'clock, but I do have to wake up early for work starting next week, so I'm trying to like dive myself back into going to bed at exactly 11, if not sooner. So that's something I've been in the process of doing, but it's hard to kind of adjust yourself to going to bed so early, because I wake up at 5:15 every single morning when I have to commute to school, and I haven't been doing that since March, which is a while. So that's going to be a fun morning, I'll say that. But I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I make a little bit more progress.
Checking back in. It's about 8:30. I did wind up getting up to 50% or 52% done, and I hope you're listening. I'm really enjoying this book. I read two thrillers in the last couple of months. Um I read what's the name of it? I read They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I like them. I think I liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder more. I really like that book. Like very very strong with is the personal connection to the victim. Like I think that that's really important. It makes me a lot more emotionally invested in the story and really curious to find out. Kind of reminds me more of like what happened with the Pretty Little Liars story, because I was so emotionally invested in finding out what happened to Allison because of the other girls and their connection to her. It's dealing with a lot of stuff in the story. She's definitely going on the sleuth route a little bit more, and it's really interesting watching her connection to the podcast that she creates, but wants to still remain like a distance. It's really really interesting. I'm really really enjoying it. I hope to finish this book tomorrow. That's my plan. But yeah, I'm gonna check in with you guys tomorrow morning, and yeah, hopefully it involves some bookstore shopping. But yeah, this is definitely my plan, is to finish this tomorrow. And I think I can do it because I don't have to do any work tomorrow. But hi guys, Tess here and back. It's about 8:40. I did wind up reading to about 51% done in I Hope You're Listening by Tom Ryan. Still really, really thoroughly liking that book, like a lot. I think it's very, very fun. It's a very, very engaging thriller and mystery, one that has a very, very strong element of podcasting and adventure and thriller. No, well, not really adventure, but like it's definitely like a murder mystery thriller. I love the podcast element. I was saying this, I had to refilm this clip because I didn't like the way that it came out. But the one thing I'm liking about this book is the emotional connection I feel to the victim, because I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and I read They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman, and I found both those stories enjoyable. Like I really liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I thought um, They Wish They Were Us was okay, but I wasn't as connected to the like I felt like I wasn't as connected to the victim because the characters weren't. It was very much like an isolated incident that happened to this character. This I really feel like, because of Delilah and because of Siddy, or Sibby, I think her name is. I'm super connected because Delilah's so involved in it. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It's very, very engaging. There is a lot of smoking in this book and kind of vices like that. I just want to point that out because I do notice it quite a bit, and there is a lot of cursing, not like an extreme amount, but it's just stuff that I notice, and that peeks out at me because that's not stuff I like to see in books, but I just want to say that it's not overdone, but it does occur. And it occurs in quite a few characters, I'll say that. But yeah, so that's really, really enjoyable so far. I'm liking that the podcast is still getting equal weight in the books. It's very, very interesting that she's covering cases that really are not connected with her, and I think that's like a strong choice. They're also involving the media a lot, like the relationship between her and the media. And it's very, very fascinating. I'm really, really enjoying it. So tomorrow I'm probably going to make a lot more progress on it because I don't have to work tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to go watch a couple episodes of The Good Witch, and I will update you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here, I'm back. It is 11:01 on September 4th, which means this is my last 4-day weekend until I go back to work. I did actually make a little bit more reading progress on I Hope You're Listening by Tom Ryan. I'm now like 60% done. I have like 2 hours left because it's an e-arc and they don't give you page numbers or anything, but I can tell how long I have. It's about 2 hours. It won't take me that long to read it. Still really, really enjoying this book. This book has a lot of some of my favorite tropes. Like I love murder or disappeared mysteries. I love that stuff. It reminds me a lot of Pretty Little Liars. I also love books that have a podcast element, which this one does have. There's also a very, very strong LGBTQ relationship in this book, which I'm really, really liking. The pacing of this book is super well done. the characters are really, really great, and I love the emotional connection to this story. I love that she's getting a little bit more involved in her own personal mystery, and that is definitely character growth for her because at the start she really was adamant not to. It's just really, really fun. I'm really, really liking it. I can't wait to see like how the mystery winds up. If we find out it is connection to her mystery with her best friend Sibby, who I have theories about, so I'm excited for that one. Also, I did start reading Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Metasalco while listening to it. Funny story, I have an arc of this book, like a physical arc of this book that I got 2 years ago at BEA. It's signed, but after that, like a couple of months later, it was released that that arc, the ending of that arc is wrong. So I will probably always keep that arc because I think that that's like a cool story, but I don't want to read a book that's not the correct story. So I'm listening to the audiobook, really, really liking it. I think I'll probably listen to the second one too during the Halloween season because I like the British voices in my ears. It's great. But this one is set on a cruise, like on a cruise ship. Her and Thomas and her uncle are heading to New York. And on their cruise ship, a murder happens. That's all that I've read so far. So I'm sure that there's more murderers. I've heard some mixed things about this book in the series from a couple of people, but I'm really liking my listening experience, and I'm definitely excited that I did. I really liked Stalking Jack the Ripper. I thought Hunting Prince Dracula was okay, but I'm really liking this one. I'm only like an hour in. So I'm going to go do some filming because I have a nice to-do list that I have to get done. My mom says we might go shopping, so that might derail me probably right when I sit down to film. We'll probably say, oh, you want to go shopping? So I'm going to try to get some filming done. We'll see if that works. And then when I start reading, I'll probably update you guys. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back to do the second half of my August reading wrap up. In between the first video I filmed and this video that I filmed, we did get a little bit more information about school, so I am physically going into the building as of this date, which means I will definitely have more listening time, which is good because I do commute to the city. Who knows if that's gonna last, but that's the plan for right now. So for this video, I'm going to chat through the additional 8 books that I read. I did actually finish 2 books like the first 2 days of September, but I'm going to count those in September. But yeah, so let's get into it. The first book that I finished reading was Asher and the Accidental Magic. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up tricking my dad into taking me to Barnes & Noble. I wound up picking up a few books, and I'm at the tail end of I Hope You're Listening. I have about 52 minutes left. Definitely took an unexpected twist towards the middle of the book. I always get very, very nervous when characters put themselves in super precarious situations that could endanger their lives. So, like, when they make decisions I, as a human being, would not make, I'm like, oh my god, why did you do that? You're going to get yourself killed. So that's kind of the situation that we're in. Delilah is very determined to figure out what happened to Sibby, and she's on one track. I just don't know if that's the track that's going to be like the real track or if it's going to be the red herring track. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But I have about 52 minutes left. I did promise my dad I would work out with him because he did take me shopping. So I'm probably going to do that eventually. But still really, really liking this. I really am loving this book a lot. But now I'm in, like, my heart's like, I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen to Sarah and Delilah? So I have a lot of questions, and there's like 2 mysteries that are really important, but the present mystery isn't getting enough love and attention. So I'm curious if that's one's actually going to be solved and if these are going to be really connected towards the end of it. But yeah, that's my thoughts right now. There is a lot of elements in this book that like were introduced, but they weren't developed throughout the whole novel. Like, so that's like my one critique, I would say. Like, there are a lot of plot points that were introduced and some just were kind of not focused on, but I haven't finished the book, so it's possible they'll come back and they'll kind of get wrapped into it. We'll see. But I'm gonna go read, and I'll probably check back in when I'm done. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling about if I have to share anything. But talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, Lori here. I'm back. I actually did wind up finishing I Hope You're Listening by Hi guys! I did want to finishing my book, I Hope You're Listening, which is an arc that comes out in early October. I thought this was a really, really great mystery thriller with a podcast element. I really like the emotional elements of it. Definitely picked up pace towards the very, very end and really, really fleshed out the world. There was definitely some elements that didn't come fully full circle, but I'm curious about the very end. And I'm curious if that's going to kind of lead into something else or if this is kind of a standalone. But I really wound up liking it. I thought that there was some unexpected things that happened at the super end that I wasn't necessarily expecting or predicting. But because I just did finish that book, I think I'm gonna take like about a couple of hours and kind of do my to-do list. We did get a little bit more information about next week, so I'm gonna kind of go in a little bit more planned than I was hoping, which is good. So I have like a little bit of errandy stuff that I want to do. I want to film my book haul because I just did wind up going to Barnes and Noble, and I want to kind of set myself up for a place to put the books that I get in September. But yeah, I'm gonna go do that, and then when I come back from doing a lot of these errandy stuff, I'll probably pick my next read. It's either gonna be between Bookish and the Beast or today, tomorrow, that that other book by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I'm also gonna see how long this reading vlog is, and I may make a new reading vlog for the weekend. We will see. But I really like that book. If you like books about podcasts or you like books about true crime, I thought that was like an interesting take on the genre, and it really follows more of the content that I watch. I don't really listen to like serial podcasts like that kind of um you know, follow like a case that way. This is really kind of the videos that I watch that they kind of like try to like raise awareness for it. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I love the LGBTQ representation. But yeah, it was really, really fun. So I'm gonna go do my errandy stuff that I've been putting off, which as you can see is quite a bit. And yeah, I will talk to you guys when I get my life in order. Bye guys. I'm back. I did actually wind up playing a little bit of Animal Crossing, and I did wind up choosing my next read, which is Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. It's really not that long. I think it's let's see, not even 300 pages. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. I didn't even read the summary. It's the third book in the series. I know that there's a character named Rosie, a character named Vance. I think Vance is like an actor, I think, and their paths wind up crossing. And a very old book winds up getting destroyed, and they have to kind of tackle that situation. But I've been missing my con life. I'll tell you, going to cons, it's been like a struggle this summer. I'll be honest. I normally go to a couple of cons every single summer, but due to COVID and everything else, that just hasn't been happening. New York City Comic Con got canceled. I read about 10 pages, but I really want to read a little bit more of it. But when I'm in the middle of a Rosie chapter, so when I read both the Rosie and the Vance chapter, I'll kind of come in and kind of like give you guys my thoughts. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on this. Ooh, it has my favorite color backdrop, and this is what it looks like. But yeah, so I'm gonna go make some more progress on this, and when I feel like I can update you guys, I will. It's set in the same exact world as the Starflight series. But yeah, I'll go back. I'm gonna go read, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye.
Just checking back in. It is about 7:37. I did wind up reading about page 35 in Bookish and the Beast. I think I did say this. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Every book kind of has a retelling element. This one, the first one was Cinderella. The other one was The Princess and the Fangirl. I think it was The Prince and the Pauper because they switched places. And this is Bookish and the Beast. So it's Beauty and the Beast. But I really didn't read the summary kind of going into it, but you have a character named Rosie, and she and this character Vance, who was one of the lead characters in Starfield, wind up having a meet cute at the start of the story. And then you kind of jump forward about like 6 or 7 months, and you have Rosie, who's kind of in like a very, very weird situation. They're waiting for the release of the second movie. And then you have Vance, who I guess is in her town. I have yet to confirm that though, but that's kind of how I think they kind of connect. But I haven't read that much. I'm really liking this book a lot. I mean, I've only read 30 pages, but I definitely like this book and these characters a little bit more than Princess and the Fangirl. I still love Darian and Elle from Geekerella, but it's such a fandom book. Like, if you love fandoms of any type, you will like these books. It's very, very closely related to Star Trek or Star Wars, but it's like a new kind of thing. I'm just really, really enjoying it. So I'm going to go back, and there's a dog. There's a dog. Vance has a dog, and I have a strong love of dogs and animals in books, so definitely plus points. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens. I really didn't read the summary because I didn't want to know too much. So I'm going to go back to reading and probably read about another 30 pages, and I'll update you guys again. Bye. Here, I'm just here to wrap up this reading vlog because I realized that I have about 3 days until I go back to school, so I think I'll have a little bit more content for you guys. But I did want to say that I did wind up getting up to about 56 pages in The Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. This book is so much fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm only 50 pages in, but there is an adorable dog in it. There's 2 characters that are screaming love to hate. There's a gentleman who's involved in the movie industry, and there's a girl who is so much like Belle. I'll say that. But basically the premise is you have these 2 characters. You have Vance, who plays a character in the Starfield series. You have Rosie, who basically like Starfield, I'll say that, and their paths wind up crossing at the start of this book, like at a convention experience, and then it kind of flashes forward a little bit of time, and when Vance's dog kind of runs away from his house because he's been put in this town by his dad for bad behavior, kind of like a beast, like that, Rosie finds the dog and is so afraid he's gonna get hit by a car, so she tries to like track him down, and she winds up going into Vance's house where he's renting, and she's looking at a Starfield book that's like a very, very priceless edition, and something happens with the book getting destroyed, and their paths wind up crossing. So that's all that for this book. Really, really fun. Definitely liking it right now more than Princess than Fangirl, which I like but I didn't love. So I got about 50 pages in this book. I also finished reading I Hope You're Listening, which was a mystery thriller that I wound up really, really liking. Wound up giving it 4 stars. That book doesn't come out until October. But it was another book that really, really kept me reading, and it was a nice mix between mystery thriller, missing person, and podcast elements, and there was a very, very strong LGBTQ reference. And then the audiobook that I listened to for most of the week was You See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, which is a LGBTQ, again, romance novel, and it has to do with like a beauty pageant competition in high school for a scholarship, but it was great. So much diversity, so much fun. Really, really wound up liking it and really, really enjoying it. So that is my reading wrap up for you guys. This was my last full week home from this crazy quarantine lifestyle. I will be reporting to work next week, and we will kind of play it by year, see how everything kind of fleshes out there. But I'll be starting another weekend vlog for another reading vlog for the weekend, so I'll be starting that tomorrow, where I will hopefully be finishing Bookish and the Beast. So let me know in the comments what are some of the books that you're reading to tackle towards the end of summer, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.